Okay, let me back away from my computer screen a little bit so I can see you better, you can see more of me, and let's take a comfortable seat to get started, and then we'll dive into our practice. I'm really glad to see you again. Thank you for being here. So you can rest your hands in your lap, let your eyes close. And just as you arrive this morning in your seat, on your mat, in your intention, consider the journey you've been on in yoga. Like it started some time back in your life and is continuing here today. You're fostering it right now. As you reflect back on what yoga has been in your life so far, just allow that to be spontaneous, so the images or the felt sense that emerges, let that be felt also in your body in the present. For the good memories of those experiences along the way are still alive in your body. When you sense those sensations in the physical body in the present, then bring your awareness to this moment where you've taken your seat, you've shown up for class. We're kind of reuniting after my sabbatical or your travels. And yoga is always welcoming us. Based on our past experiences, we can have a kind of light hypothesis that our practice will be nourishing, it'll be good medicine for the brain and the body, mind and heart. But consider if there's something within you, a phrase, a mantra, a reminder that you'd want to have as an echo during your practice this morning. I know many of you who are here in class, so it could be something like, my needs matter, or may this practice heal the parts of me that I can't yet see. May this practice help me be in a more loving relationship with my anxiety or with my difficulty. May this practice sustain me while I serve my community. So some phrase that you might have for yourself. And then begin to breathe more deeply, more fully, and try to sense that the breath is bringing that phrase into your body, so it's becoming something more intimate and palpable, so that your intuition with the phrase, your breath, your body, your mind, and your heart, they're all woven together to sense this. Begin to use the Ujjayi breath now, so not just a deeper breath, but the quality of the Ujjayi where you hear this silky whispering sound in the inner ear. And that Ujjayi, it moves across the back of the throat, touching stress receptors there, and you can elicit a state change for yourself, an internal state change. And do that for 2 breath cycles more, please. So you can imagine on the inhale, you're more deeply embedding this message or this inner intention or mantra. And with the exhale, sending out of the body whatever would distract you from really taking that in. And you can bring your hands together at your heart. And we'll begin with the chant Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu. As we practice together, may this time protect us from harm. May it protect us from the thoughts of self-doubt, for example, or self-criticism. May this time be nourishing. May it nourish our intentions. May we practice together vigorously as needed to overcome difficulties or to stay the course. And may our practice help us to bring light or luminosity or to shine awareness on that which we need to see. May we not become impatient with ourselves, with each other, or with the process. Let's sing together. Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Om Shanti Om Shanti Shanti Om. With your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Please open your eyes. And as you're sitting up straight and tall, sweep the arms out to the side and press it back with your thumbs, elbows, shoulders. Take the chest forward. And then exhale, bring your palms forward and round your back like you're doing cat pose. And inhale, press the arms wide, stretch out through your thumbs, take the shoulders back, lift your chest and heart. And exhale and round forward. And inhale to open. And exhale to draw forward. Broaden your upper back, gaze down. Twice more, inhale to open. And exhale to broaden the back of the heart. Once more. And exhale. Interlace your fingers. Now inhale to go up and look up. Exhale, sweep your arms wide. And then reach back to clasp your hands at the small of your back. Inhale, roll your shoulders open, and again lift your chest and look up. And then exhale, just bring your head down, keep the shoulders back, arms back. Now give a good strong squeeze of your shoulders towards the wall behind you. And you can squeeze the shoulder blades in towards the spine for now. Lift your heart on the front side and lift the base of your skull so your chin is coming in towards the center of your throat. Use the Ujjayi breath. Let's do 3 breath cycles. Be deliberate that you're opening from your low torso, mid-torso, upper chest and heart. When you exhale, try toning the low belly as long as possible. So you're sustaining the pace of the exhale and the inner strength and the duration that you can do this morning. And then when you next exhale, release both shoulders, arms, hands, all of your fingers and thumbs. And listen to see how that inner mantra or intention might now live in your body. Even if it's a kind of light or loose, not specific mantra, like may this practice heal something in me that I don't yet know needs healing. May this practice fortify me for what's to come, even if you don't know what that is. And please come up to standing. We're going to shift towards the Sun Salutation. I'm going to change my camera. So you can take a stance at the front of your mat, what you consider to be the front, and join your hands together at your heart. Oh, I have my hair in my face in a moment. The Sun Salutation is a traditional practice in India. It's for the morning, which is what you're doing right now. Of course, it's nighttime in India at this moment, but we generally are greeting the sun rising for the day. Of course, it's not rising, our planet's turning. But you can also imagine that you're greeting that in you which wants to rise, that in you which wants to become more luminous. So with your inner mantra and your intention, let's begin using Ujjayi breathing. So inhale, hands down, palms up, rise up. Then exhale, sit down to chair pose. And when you sit into chair pose, take your gaze kind of forward at a 45-degree angle towards the floor. So you're still lifting the base of your skull. Then inhale, press down, rise up, root your tailbone, look up. Then exhale, bow forward, sweep your arms wide, and clear the windows of the mind. Then inhale, glide forward through your heart, rise up to your fingertips. At the top of the movement, open your throat. When you exhale, bow deeply towards your legs. At the end of the action, tone your throat. Let's rise up. Inhale, sweep your arms wide. As you get to the high point of the in-breath, also open your throat. And then hands to your heart. And bring your head down so that your head is balanced over your spine. The throat is toned but not tight. Let's repeat that. Inhale, Ujjayi. Exhale, bend your knees, chair pose. So you're gazing about 45 degrees down. There's tone to the throat right now. Lift the base of your skull. Inhale, rise up and look up. At the top portion of the inhale, open your throat. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward. At the top of the inhale, open your throat. This time as you exhale, bow deeply towards your legs, and at the end of the exhale, little tone to the throat. Then place your hands and step backwards to downward facing dog pose, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now in downward dog pose, we're going to hold steady for about 5 breath cycles. So when you're practicing dog pose, just now listen to the sound of your Ujjayi breath. Listen to its quality. If the breath had an attitude, what might that be? How is your breath massaging that internal awareness or intention into your body? With your next Ujjayi inhale, listen to the inner sound of the breath from your inner ear as you glide forward to plank pose. Gaze down between your thumbs. Then exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Bend your elbows. Come onto your stomach, point your toes. Inhale, roll up to Cobra. Come up to your fingertips. And then exhale and glide back down. So we're going to do this several times. When you glide down, you can bow your head towards the floor. And then inhale, roll up. Come up to your fingertips so you're not on your flat palms. Shoulders back. Good. And then exhale to roll down. It's kind of like vertebrae by vertebrae, then bow your head. Inhale, glide up. And exhale to roll down. You can think twice more here. Think of this also massaging your intention into your body. And do one more time. So listen for the smooth cadence and the kind attitude of your breath inside. When you return this time, place your palms flat, curl your toes under, and as you tone the deep low belly, press up to plank with your exhale. And then inhale, reach backwards, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And now exhale, right foot forward. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge, basic lunge. And then exhale, airplane pose, just airplane pose. So you're like closing the torso as if you'd close the bellows on a harmonium. Inhale to rise. At the top of your breath, look up, open the throat. As you exhale to bow forward, tone your throat. So here, the base of the skull is in line with the spine. And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, bow forward. Keep your right outer hip and hamstring toned. Once more, inhale, rise up. And now exhale to descend. Slowly keep your foundation stable and step backwards to downward dog pose. Then exhale, left foot forward between your hands. Press down through your left heel. As you complete the exhale, then inhale, rise. Exhale, airplane pose. Keep the left outer hip steady. Inhale, rise up, root into your left heel. Good. Inhale follows exhale. Exhale follows inhale. You might even think the inhale is offering itself to the exhale, and the exhale offers itself to the inhale. Inhale up one more time. And exhale forward all the way down without collapsing into your left hip. Inhale, float your right foot forward, please. Bring your heart forward. Exhale to deeply bow towards your legs. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale to your heart. We're going to repeat that. So inhale, upward hands pose. A chair pose, gaze down about 45 degrees ahead of you. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to descend. Inhale, glide forward. And exhale backwards to dog pose, so take a big step back. Inhale forward to plank pose, gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, chaturanga. Point your toes. Inhale, bhujangasana. Come up to your fingertips. Exhale, glide down. We'll do this 5 times. On the pace of your inhale, roll up. Exhale to glide down. Three more. You can imagine each time you roll up that you're opening your body, your heart, and your mind to the inner mantra or intention that you have for your practice this morning. And each time that we roll down, it's kind of a gesture of humbling ourselves to the wisdom of the practice, and even the wisdom of the mantra or the intention that you've brought to your mat this morning. We'll roll down. Last one. Place your palms flat, curl your toes under. Let's inhale up to plank pose this time. And then exhale, reach backwards. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Now at the completion of the next inhale, when your exhale begins, step your right foot forward and your left knee down. Then inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana. And on this one, exhale, open your chest, heart, and arms. And then inhale, as you raise your arms, raise the breath from the first third, middle third, upper third of the inhale. Exhale to open. Again, inhale, rise up. And this time, exhale, hands to the heart as you bow forward. Go ahead and touch the floor and step backwards, downward dog pose. And then exhale, left foot forward and right knee down. And then you're going to inhale, rise up. So in staying in Anjaneyasana, the only thing really moving here are your arms. So keep an internal lift from your pelvic floor and upwards through the inner line of the spine. So you're working with the upper chest, heart, and throat, but we aren't forgetting about the lower body. On this one, as you exhale, bring your hands to your heart, bow forward, touch the floor, and then inhale, float your right foot up to meet your left foot, bring your heart forward. And then exhale for a deep and satisfying bow towards your legs. Root your heels, inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, hands to your heart. And pause to notice. Of course, you're feeling in your own body the sensations of moving, breathing, sensing. You're also feeling the echo of your own activities. This morning, yesterday, many yesterdays. And as we sort of slough off the residue of what that is, there's a kind of archaeological discovery that deeper than the residue, deeper than the stress that we might have been carrying, there is, to quote a famous poet, whose name I cannot remember right now, there is a love that does not die. That's what's deeper than all of this. Now we'll use Warrior 2 in the sequence. So we're going to be stepping from chair pose backwards to Warrior 2. So let's do this. Inhale, Ujjayi. Raise your arms, open your throat at the top. And then exhale, bend your knees, sit down to chair pose. Now inhale, pick up your left knee like Karate Kid. And exhale, glide your left toes back, pivot your left heel down, and open to Warrior 2. Yeah. Then breathing in, turn your right palm up and rise up. Exhale, Warrior 2. So just leveling off as if you were an airplane. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, level off. Keep your pelvis stable, legs stable. Again, inhale, rise up. Lengthen your right inner thigh as you root your left outer heel. Exhale, level it off. Let's do it one more time. Like you're raising up this intention or mantra is possible in your body, in your practice, in your life. We're going to exhale and windmill the arms over. As you touch the floor, pivot your left heel up behind you and step backwards, downward dog pose. And let's come forward for our Cobra Poses. You're going to inhale, glide forward to plank, gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, Chaturanga. Point your toes, come to your fingertips. Inhale, roll up, lift your heart, open your throat, lift your gaze. Exhale, glide down. 4 times more. So on the inhale, imagine opening up your inner body to this mantra or intention. When you exhale, practice the art of humility. It's called Hri in Sanskrit. This sort of humble request, may the practice itself guide us. The tradition of yoga is larger than any one of us. We're like a passenger on the path right now. When you next exhale to glide down, place your palms flat on the floor, curl your toes under, and let's inhale up to plank pose. And exhale, reach backwards, downward facing dog pose. Enjoy a full inhalation. And then exhale, left foot forward. And as you inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Now we're going to turn to the right, Virasana 2. So in this case, we come from the crescent lunge. Now inhale, rise up, rising warrior. Good, beautiful. Exhale, level off like an airplane. Keep your legs stable. Inhale, glide up. And exhale to level that off. You're opening your ribs, your mid-torso, chest, and heart. Keep the lower body stable. Level it off one more time. And then last time to rise, inhale to go up. And exhale, windmill your arms down. You can bracket your front foot with your hands, pivot your right heel up, and now inhale, step forward. And exhale to bow deeply towards your legs. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart. Now we'll add to that sequence, and we're going to reverse it left to right. So inhale, upward hands pose. Here comes chair pose, exhale, bend your knees, sit down. Now standing on your left leg like Karate Kid, inhale, pick up your right knee. And exhale, glide your right toes back and pivot, warrior 2. So we're going to add side angle pose in here. Let's inhale, rise up with your left arm. And then exhale, Parsvakonasana. Inhale, rise. Exhale, Parsvakonasana. Inhale to rise. And exhale, side angle pose. One more. Inhale, glide up. So you have to keep the left outer hip and hamstring stable. And when you exhale, even here, side angle pose, we don't drop the hips and pelvis, but you do rotate your pelvis. And then rotate down to face the floor, pivot your right heel up, and step backwards, downward facing dog pose. With an inhale, we're going to come forward to plank. Bring your gaze down between your thumbs. Exhale, chaturanga. Point your toes. Now 5 times, inhale, bhujangasana, cobra pose. I'm asking you this morning to be on your fingertips because it's going to make your cobra a little bit more dependent on your shoulders, your heart, less dependent on the flat palms. It may also add to a feeling of a little bit of lift in your cobra. A tiny bit of extra height. Maybe something like optimism in your heart. As you glide down, then place your palms flat, curl your toes under. And inhale up to plank pose. And exhale back to downward facing dog pose. Enjoy a full inhale. And then when you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. This is the base for your crescent lunge. Inhale, rise up. We're going to go sideways, warrior two. Good. Inhale, rising warrior. Exhale, Parsvakonasana. Inhale, glide up. I sometimes like to imagine this is like being seaweed in the ocean, and the seaweed surrenders to the currents of the ocean. Here, we're being guided by the current of the breath. We could say by the currents of prana. Let's do one more time. Again, keep your front hip, your right outer hip and hamstring steady. Press into your right outer heel as you come into side angle pose. And keep that steady as you roll down to bookend your right foot with both hands. Step your left foot forward, please. And then deeply bow towards your legs. Inhale, rise up, please. And exhale, hands to your heart. Let yourself stand really still, as if you were standing in water that you had caused to move and to ripple beautifully, but now you're watching and feeling that water become very still, very reflective. And release your hands. Let's take a stance into the jazz dance warm-up pose. So for those of you who might not remember, it's like this. And take a wide stance so that when you come down, your knees are pretty well over your heels to start. You can have your hands on your knees. Press your knees out so they line up with your third toe. You can take a peek. Sometimes people's feet turn farther than the knees can go, in which case you would turn the toes in to accommodate what your knees can do. So I'd like those things to match. Knees and toes can match. And then as you're pressing out with both hands, root your tailbone down. Turn your, let's see, left and right. Turn your left fingers in and twist to your right. So as you're twisting here, I'm going to ask you to keep both arms straight so you haven't bent the elbows to make up for some lack of mobility in the spine. Press your left inner thigh out using your left hand. Rotate your right upper chest to the right. You can press into your right arm for support for that. And breathing in, breathing out. Now see if you can glide to your left, keeping the pose pretty stable for the torso. Can you glide left, bend your left knee. And then glide that back to center. Notice your left outer hip and outer heel have to conduct the return to center. Okay, so glide to your left. Your right leg may or may not straighten, that's fine. Now as you press from your left outer hip into your heel, glide back to center. Do that once more. So you're kind of acting like the Tin Man getting the oil for the hip joint. Glide back to center. And then rotate your torso to center. Now turn your right hand in, left hand out, and twist to your left. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that is one of the intentions here. If you find yourself getting a little bit warmer, that Then also we should feel like you're really sitting into your hips and pelvis, but not hanging down past a kind of stable place. So you're not just like a hammock from your sitting bones to the floor. So as you keep the right inner thigh long, you press into your right hand and arm for that, and then glide to your right. Press into your right outer hip and heel, glide back to center. And do that 3 times. So sense what you can within the movement, like how much space, fluidity, support does your right hip provide right now? Then bring yourself back to center, and as you press out against both knees, you can point your fingers back out in line with your toes. Widen the inner thighs, draw the tailbone down, and lift the pubic bone very slightly up. And then root down, rise up, straighten both legs, turn your toes in now, and come down to Virasana. So everyone will have their own body proportions and flexibility in Virasana. So I welcome you to make the adaptations that you want. For myself, because of the length of my legs, the flexibility of my hamstrings, the length of my torso, it's really comfortable to place my elbows on the floor. That may not be your practice, and that would be okay. Remember that the practice starts with Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu. We're not here for competition. We're not here for coercion. I'd like you to do 3 or 4 more Ujjayi breath cycles right here. Think of this as a pose for integration between the standing work that we've been doing and the floor work that we're about to do. And you can place your fingertips on the floor, and let's go heel toe into standing. Okay. We're going to come down to the floor for pranayama and then some floor practice. So please take a blanket. I'm going to ask you to unfold it like this, and then roll your blanket lengthwise. And take a seat. Now, for some of you sitting cross-legged, even on a blanket, your hips actually prefer to sit in Virasana, which is a kneeling position, and you can take a block to put under the hips for that. That's totally fine, of course. So when you come to take a seat right now, think of this as a transitional period in your practice. We're going from active practice, which we can call Surya. We're going to have an inner practice for a few minutes. We can call that Chandra. The moon reflecting like in the night sky last night. So take your hands out over your knees, please. Momentarily close your eyes. And feel what is alive in you now, having had that relatively short physical practice. It wasn't hours and hours of dogged work, but it was deliberate practice. What's moving in you now? So what we're going to be doing then is we'll inhale using the Ujjayi breath, so that inhale comes in through the nose. And then we're going to hold the inhale at the top for a few moments, so we're going to be brightening the chest of the heart. And when we exhale, I'm going to ask you to exhale out through the lips as if you had a very tiny cocktail straw in your mouth. So let's begin with the inhalation, Ujjayi. And then holding the breath. To do that, you snug the chin in towards your throat, lift the base of your skull. You tone the low belly in and up, and then the chest and heart brighten and become more expansive. To release that suspension of the inhale, you have to do that as a thoughtful release, and then make a tiny cocktail straw and blow out through the mouth. Your exhale will likely be longer than your inhale because of the technique. Let me ask for one more thing as you're practicing. When you have your hands over your knees, I'd like you also to kind of pull up in the inner body. So the outer structure of your body would be kind of toned or taut like the tent. When you get into your tent, you don't want it to be like all sagging and you have to push the tent off your face. So when you sit like this, I do want you to have like the tent stakes, and the tent itself is strong. So the breath in the inner body, your body's not shrinking and rising and doing things. The breath is moving through this really stable container. Okay, let's do it 4 times now. The Ujjayi inhale, inhale suspension, and then exhale like a cocktail straw. Here we go. You may have one more breath in this cycle. At the end of your 4th exhale, and release your hands to the place you prefer them to rest for meditation. Let your body relax, so now the outer body will relax over the inner body. This inner quality that pranayama can make for you, please bring this with you as we now transition to some seated practice. I'd like you to take both legs out to Dandasana. So sitting upright. Great. So Dandasana will be like our mountain pose, our seated mountain pose. Then bring your right knee up for Marichyasana. Cross your left hand around your right shin. Good. and then rotate to your right. So I'm going to ask you now, when you're in the pose, to really focus on the internal practice. Go inside with your awareness to the base of your skull. And though during the first part of our practice we were opening the throat and stretching, I'm going to ask you now to sense a lift at the base of your skull that goes up, toning the internal experience of your neck and your throat. The Ujjayi can still have a sound that's round, smooth. I like to call it silky. Notice the pathway of your Ujjayi breath inside. How welcoming is the body? How receptive can you be to the breath? When you next exhale, rotate around to face forward. Open your right knee out to the side. And if possible, your knee comes down to the floor. This is Janusirasana, this position. So you can press the right knee down. It may not reach the floor. It might, may not. Inhale, raise up with your right arm. And then exhale, and as you come forward to Janusirasana, let the right hand find the place on your left foot or your left leg that feels supportive. Right? And then lift the base of your skull again. And think less of how close can your head be to your foot and more about the internal length of the spine as your Ujjayi breath and this tiny lift at the base of your skull, they work together to lengthen your spine. And one more breath cycle. Remember, the inhale offers itself to the exhale, and the exhale offers itself to the inhale. And with your next inhalation, sweep your right arm forward, and rise up, and return to Dandasana. And bend your left knee in. Cross your right hand around your left shin. Walk your left fingertips behind you. And as you rotate to your left, turn your upper back, chest, and heart, and then your head. And think of the Jalandhar Bandha that's making the Ujjayi sound for you. So this tiny lift at the base of the skull, that continues. And inside, the Ujjayi and that Jalandhar Bandha should lengthen the spine and hopefully bring you a quality of mental quiet as well. one more breath in. And then exhale to rotate forward. Take the left knee out to Janusirsasana. And remembering your internal mantra, inhale, raise up here. And then exhale as you bow forward. You might recall that in Cobra Pose, I was suggesting that the roll down part was a time where we practiced humility, about the deep tradition of yoga. And I like to think of this pose as also one of humility. So keep the lift at the base of your skull, so your head is not falling forward towards nor brushing your shin or your ankle. And this inner line of the Ujjayi breath moves up and down the spine. And breathe in your internal intention or your mantra. We exhale as a time of humility and reflection. We need these forward bends in this time of year, and we'll need them for the next several months as we go into the season of Vata, the windy season. We've just started to sense the wind picking up here in Oregon. So the transitions in the seasons, that's something for us to be very thoughtful about. It's a time of some vulnerability in our health, mind, and body. With your next inhale, sweep your left arm forward and rise up to sitting. And then return to Dandasana, like the mountain pose of standing. This is your Dandasana, your mountain pose of sitting. And in Dandasana, place your hands a little bit to the side, roll your shoulders back, and try to find that inner Jalandhara Bandha again. And then please come forward to Paschimottanasana, whatever amount of forward is within your body's capacity. Wisely come forward. Consider again the Jalandhara Bandha. So your inner body, if you notice when you lift the base of the skull and you gently tone the front of the throat, there ought to be a corresponding internal tone and lift at the pelvic floor and the deep low belly. So your inner body has all these connected pathways, so does the outer body, but we are so often not really aware of it. When you next exhale, root down to rise up. Now, having rolled this blanket, I'm going to ask you to scoot forward of the blanket with your hips and lie backward so that you've got the upper back going over the blanket roll like a little back bend. Okay, so that transition, I hope, was smooth for you. I will turn myself on the other angle so you can see. So if you went from sitting, you scooted the hips forward, and then we lie backward so that the upper back, chest, and heart are over the blanket roll. Okay, and this will tempt your throat to open a bit. It's okay, certainly, to have the throat open some. I don't want you to have the feeling that your head is falling backward. So if the blanket roll is too large for you, please make it smaller. Notice now, if you soften your shoulders towards the floor, what is the experience you have of the breath? Unguided, unmodified, just noticing the breath. Let this be really restful as you now lower both knees down to your left. Lengthen your right inner thigh, right front thigh, reach into your right knee. Roll your right shoulder back towards the floor. And then roll both knees up to center. And both knees down to your right. Okay, and lengthen from your left hip to your left thigh to your left knee. And breathing in, roll your left shoulder down towards the floor. And then roll that back to center. And you can roll sideways to come up to sitting, or you can come up to sit. Take your blanket and make it lengthwise down your mat now. It's still rolled, so take it lengthwise down. And position yourself so that you're sitting in front of but not on your blanket. And then you're going to be lying backwards so the blanket supports your spine. Right? Take the arms out to the side in a T shape. Now, if you have the kind of blanket that will do this, not all blankets do, but you could take just underneath your neck, make a teeny tiny inchworm roll so that it supports the shape of your neck, and the base of your skull will have full support. And then you can close your eyes and let your attention drop inward and downward. And I would say, even you should have the sense that your gaze is going down towards your heart and then down into your lower pelvis and abdomen. And bring awareness down into your hips and your pelvis and start to let the bones of the pelvis become heavier, heavier with relaxation. At the back of your thighs, thigh bones, also release into the ground beneath you. Invite your knees, your kneecaps, the joint of the knees, which is kind of a complex joint. Invite them both to release, to feel warm and nurtured, circulation flowing through both knees. Relax any unnecessary tension, excuse me, or holding in the knees. Invite your calves, your shin bones, and then both ankles. Those are also complex joints. And all the bones of the ankles relax and soften. And the 26 bones of each foot. 52 bones altogether for the feet. Let them also release unnecessary tension. As you rest, allow your mantra to wash through you. The legs, feet and toes heavy and relaxed. Allow the legs to get heavier, the heels, the toes, reminding you this is a time of surrender. Your body is taking in the medicine of your practice. Your inner mantra can go deeper. Now just for 1 minute more, let your Shavasana go deeper yet again. The mantra going more deeply into your body releasing more completely towards the floor. Om Shanti 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 Om Om Shanti Om. Gently welcome your breath to deepen, to return to you. Allow that to move through in such a way as you can sense your toes and wiggle them. Arms, fingers, and thumbs. And bend one knee at a time. And please roll to your right side to bring yourself back up to sitting. When you come upright, try to relax the physical body as much as you can while keeping an internal sense of the structure. Just sense the meditative state that you bring yourself to through your practice. And right now I'm going to ask you not to allow for intrusions. Don't allow the distractions to come. That's why we said Sana Vavatu. May our practice protect this inner wisdom, this inner space, this refuge. Stay with this inner refuge a few moments more. This is where you draw from during the day as your daily tasks will unfold. Please bring your hands together at your heart now, and considering that during our practice we get to return to and remember this indwelling refuge, this inner resource of wisdom and grace and love. And we know that there are countless others on the planet who don't know how to access this, and who may be so preoccupied with basic issues of safety and viability. We're going to send a prayer out to those who may be in need. Perhaps people that you know directly, perhaps people just an overarching sense of who's in need right now. So we'll sing Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings everywhere have access to some means for safety, for ease, for an attitude of evenness, of equanimity. May they have access to the means of happiness or joy or stability. We can sing together. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you again. I'm going to come up where I can see you better to say good morning. Okay. How are you feeling?